debate has resurfaced following the reports models are being encouraged to drink smoothies backstage instead of eating. Joining me now is Butterfly Foundation CEO Christine Morgan and editor of Vogue magazine Edwina McCann. Good morning to both of you. Edwina, if I can start with you, how concerned are you by the images we've been seeing this week at Fashion Week?
Look, I do think there have been some girls who've been thin, who I've been uncomfortable looking at, especially without a lot of clothes on, and that can really send the wrong message. Having said that, I think it's really important that we all keep our heads with this, with this issue and have serious conversations about it. And that is certainly what Vogue is attempting to do with the Health Initiative, which we signed just under a year ago. I think it is time to talk about healthy body image and where we want the Australian Fashion Week to go.
But we've been having this conversation ever since Fashion Week started in this country, which is what, more than 10 years ago?
I think it's 16 actually. So
we have been having this conversation for 16 years, and you look at the girls that are walking down the catwalk at the moment, and it looks to me like it's getting worse. Let's get some perspective here. We've got one girl who's the most popular girl that's been booked this week. She has got the waist of the average 7-year-old child. Another model is saying that the cigarettes and coffee diet is alive and well amongst most of the girls. And 4 girls collapsed yesterday. It's been described as heat exhaustion, but it was a mild day in Sydney yesterday.
That room actually is incredibly hot. I've just got to put it into
But these
context.
girls clearly aren't strong, because there wasn't anybody in the audience that was collapsing.
Well, I got to leave the room. I think they were sitting there and they were sitting in the same position for a very long period of time under very, very hot lights in clothes that are perhaps heavier than you and I can take my jacket off. They can't. They've got to stay still.
A girl with the waist of a 7-year-old child, what do you think about that?
I totally refute that. I have 2 7-year-old daughters, and I know the model we're talking about in question, and I guarantee you she does not have the same size waist as my daughter, and I guess this, or either of my daughters, and I guess this is where, we want to make sure that this debate, we keep our cool heads about it, that we don't get shrill. It's very easy to write headlines and get overly dramatic. That actually, I think, detracts from what is a very serious issue and something that we need to discuss, intelligently.
But is it about the headlines, or is it about the girls that we're seeing? Because I think most people, when they see those girls that we've just shown the images of, get very disturbed about how skinny girls have become on the catwalk.
I think one model in particular, and I do think it's very, very dangerous to point fingers at these girls, because 2 of the girls who have been singled out, I do know, and they are not unhealthy girls. They are over 6 foot tall, and I think sometimes we forget the fact that it's a lot easier for them to drop weight quite quickly than it is for you or me. It just is. It's genetics. And when they do work hard, and especially on the Paris season, and Australian Fashion Week has moved closer to the Paris season where these girls have been working, they tend to be thinner at the end than they are at the beginning. Now,
but it doesn't sound like anybody's handing them a sandwich as these fashion shows are going on. That's discouraged.
I actually spoke to the organisers yesterday, because I was quite concerned when I read that in the paper. They pointed out that it is the designer's responsibility, as it is ours when we do a photo shoot, to have food provided. Now, I said to them, well, if that's not happening or not happening adequately, would you be prepared to police that and ensure that there is food? They pointed out that there is food available to buy, but I pointed out that when you have somebody working for an extended period of time, somebody needs to hand it says you've got to provide food. So this is one of those issues that I do think that we can tackle, and I do think it needs to be taken, again, very seriously, and we do need to take action.
Christine, this week you likened the fashion industry to drug dealers pushing anorexia and bulimia. They're strong words.
Look, they are strong words, and I think that they were probably taken as being very strong words, but I think the principle behind it, Lisa, is I'm just assuming that we are all actually on the same page in understanding just how dangerous it is when we have young girls, not just the ones on the catwalk, and I understand the need to not over-dramatise this, but I think we can't ignore the impact this has on so many other young girls out there, and we can't ignore the impact of what happens when they dangerously diet and when they hear things such as cigarettes and coffee, not eating, having smoothies instead of drinking, because whilst I take your point that food should be made available, what we actually need to work with is the headspaces of the models and the young girls, and their heads are telling them, if I want to be glamorous, if I want to be successful, I've got to look like that, and I've got to make sure that I keep getting skinnier and skinnier. And for those who are on the catwalk, they're effectively applauded when they do get skinnier. So it's actually a battle about the head, because we can make food available, but we've got to change what's happening in their heads.
The organisers are hearing all of the conversations that are going on at the moment, Edwina, and they say that they're not going to be introducing any weight guidelines at all. They're not going to move unless the rest of the industry moves, the power brokers, as they put it. As the editor of Vogue, you would really have to sit at the apex of those power brokers.
Absolutely, and I'm prepared to do that. This is the first fashion week that I've been the editor of Vogue, and I take the health initiative very seriously. The CFDA, so the Council of Fashion Designers of America, have moved in a very positive direction to ensure that models are healthy, and that there is that is really
How do you
looked at.
define what is healthy?
You see,
Because
this
just
is
looking
where
at
it gets
girls-
really
So
difficult.
what is the initiative
because,
that Vogue has set up? How do you know if these girls are healthy?
well, for instance, with our shoots, we actually go through an auditing process now. So
Which
we actually,
involves what?
well, we have to ask the agent whether they believe the girls have an eating disorder.
But
We're
the
not
agents,
suggesting that
a
we
lot of
do.
people say the agents are in on this
Well,
because they want their girls skinny
again,
as well.
I think that's tough, and I guess it's a chicken or the egg scenario.
Exactly.
All I can do is try to use, good judgment and to put our case forward that we prefer athletic frames. It's something that Alexandra Schulman, the editor of British Vogue, has been very outspoken about. She came out again yesterday. Anna Wintour has written letters saying that she would urge designers to favour athletic frames.
Just quickly, because we got together some Vogue magazines this morning that we've got in the office and had a look at some of your fashion images. Can we just quickly show, would you call that an athletic frame?
Well, I can see she's leaning forward, but no, I don't think she is unhealthy or ridiculously thin. And
So-
neither is she. I actually know her. She came into the office. She's a very healthy girl, but she is over 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Some of us have extraordinary legs. And I'm not saying that, the Olympics can't be full of average swimmers. Models are never going to be average-looking people.
I know you're the mother of 7-year-old girls, so I know that this is close to your heart, but I think, as I said at the beginning, this conversation's been going on for 16 years and nothing seems to change.
Well, it's something, as I said, that I do take very seriously. We were urging, designers to look at the models they were casting, and we do ask them to look at the size of the samples that they're creating, because it does limit the type of body types that we can shoot in them. But again, we're not shying away from our responsibility in the overall picture.
There is a circle, that's for sure. Christine and Edwina, I appreciate you both very much for